Hey, good evening or good afternoon and good morning to some of you. Thanks for coming on it's afternoon over here. It's at 5:30 in Philadelphia. All right, so I'm glad you guys can join us. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about, and I'm excited. First thing, just want to recap what happened last Monday, of course. Our last broadcast was the Halving, right? The Bitcoin Halving event. And we had a contest on whoever guessed what Bitcoin price will be for the next halving will win 0.2 Bitcoin. All right, so 0.2 Bitcoin, what does that mean? If Bitcoins become $100,000 by the next halving or at the next halving, so that is 0.2 of that. That is $20,000. Okay?
Wow, that's a lot of money.
That's right.
Yeah, so the higher the Bitcoin price, the more the 0.2 Bitcoin is going to be worth. So I know I'm in. I already have my price prediction in my head. I haven't posted it yet, but kind of have an idea what I think it's going to be.
We're gonna have until tomorrow, okay? Until tomorrow after our Tuesday night training, we'll give people, the members, one more chance. So tomorrow midnight is the deadline. All right, so you only one guess. Everybody only get one. So if you put two guess on it, then you are actually eliminated, because if you don't know which is your number. If you put in two guess, then how do we know which is your real number that you predict? All right. So make sure you only put one guess on it. Okay.
So are we putting these guests in our Telegram group? Is that what we're going to post?
No, Facebook.
Okay, Facebook. Okay.
Right, you go to our Facebook. You go to the live cast that we had before. Is the Bitcoin is halving today. Live cast. I think Jason.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay.
Mr. Wong.
Hey.
Glad you could join us. So what's going on?
All right. So.
Excited.
All right. So we're just recapping on last week on the halving, on the contest that we have. So I did talk to Don. So we all approved for giving away 0.2 Bitcoin for whoever guessed it closest to the Bitcoin price at the next halving. All right. That's
awesome.
Yeah, if Don didn't approve it, I was gonna just split it among the three of us. All right, so everyone gave 0.05 Bitcoin, then to make up the 0.2 Bitcoin that we're giving out.
Okay. Right, which means you, Gershom, and James.
No.
Right. Right. The three of you, right? Right.
Don say okay, but so we have it.
The CEO.
But we approved it, so it's not. That's not even a discussion.
Yeah, it's not even a discussion.
Right. So Don's going to already escrowing 0.2 Bitcoin away because we have no idea what the price is going to be. All right. So if it does get to become $1 million by then, that 0.2 Bitcoin, you know how much that is?
200,000.
That would be 200,000.
So wait, okay. Let me get this clear right now. Are we allowed to bet, like myself, Mr. Wong? Can we bet also, or
it's not a bet? You just.
Can we predict?
It's free.
Are we allowed to predict our price also? Are we?
I would say so. I mean, I think our guess is, or their guess, or any of the audience guess.
All right.
It's as good as ours, really. Good. Anyone's guess is as good as anyone's. Right.
That'd be nice, man. Have a nice little side change.
Right. Yeah. So we don't determine the price. I mean, I wish I can determine the price of Bitcoin, but we don't. So I think their guess is as good as ours. So just to let you know, so it's 0.2 Bitcoin by tomorrow midnight. All right. So you go to our Facebook. You go into the live stream that we had on what was last week, the 11th, May 11th. Which is the title of that live stream is Bitcoin is halving today. All right, so you can put your guess on that comment over there. So just to give you a little idea what some of our audience guess are, some of our members guess are. All right, we have, of course, we have from Neil $194,000. All right, we have Stephen Castle at 62,300. And we have we have a really high one from Evelyn. Evelyn have 1,237,000.
That's pretty aggressive.
That is very aggressive. And you never know.
Hey, right? Look, it's very possible.
Right. If that does happen, Evelyn, that 0.2 Bitcoin, it will worth. How much is it worth
like 40,000, somewhere around there.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
$240,000 if it goes to that price. Okay. And Evelyn, you will win that if it goes to 1.2 million. 1,237,000.
Yeah.
Right. We have 200,000 from Amelita, and 210,000 for Hannah. 450 for I think this is Tobit, and for CK 198,000. These are the recent ones. Actually, these are pretty recent. These are people that put in their gas. Some of them actually just about an hour ago.
Okay.
So, all right.
And really, there's no reason why everyone should not do this, because it's not going to cost you anything, and you could potentially win, 0.2 Bitcoin, which we don't know what the price is going to be, but it could be worth a lot. So just do it. There's no reason, you have no reason not to do it. It's not cost you anything, so just do it.
Right, and it's going to be fun.
And it's going to be fun, exactly. Absolutely, yes.
When that hits over 100,000, I'll be so happy. If it hits over 1 million, it's going to be crazy. We'll be giving away a lot of money.
You'll be way more happy, huh?
Right. All right. Also, since we were talking about the halving event, wait, let me just mute my computer. All right. And James, can you pull up that chart, the halving event chart? Okay. Let me see. Make sure I am here. All right. So I'm just gonna go over what we were talking about, just a little bit, and tomorrow at 7:30 I'm gonna talk a little more about. I'm gonna really go into details, a lot more details into the halving, into the Bitcoin halving, and about the hash rates and the difficulty. Right, but now I just want to touch a little bit about it. Now this chart that is on your screen on the Facebook screen, the Bitcoin halving 2020 explained. Right. Remember, this article was actually published. Yes. Oh, thanks, James. Yeah, it's bigger. This article was actually published. Look at the date, September 22nd of 1999. I'm sorry, 2019. I'm thinking 1999. I'm thinking 1999 because the halving. You know how the halving and then the Y2K, like 1999 to 2000. But anyway. So this article published again in September 22nd of 2019. So which is what, about 8 months ago? Literally 8 months ago. All right. And if you look at it, it's been pretty accurate. If you look at that kind of like triangle in the purple area right before the halving, okay, that kind of like grayish triangle, right? It has that price of between. Looks like roughly around the 9,000 range, right? And if you look at that chart and look at the date, May 18th. Right now is May 18th. You look at the bottom of the chart, say May 18th. You see it, 18 May 2020, right? And you look at where we are, and you look at that red number. Number in red is 9,900, right?
$80.
Right. $9,980. That is what that prediction is. So look at the price today. You have the price today, what it is? I'm looking at my Coinbase app to look at the price. Right now, it's $9,712, guys.
You can't get any closer than that.
Right. May 18th, and this article was written months ago, right? More than half a year ago. 8 months ago, we were talking about. This article is based on historical data, right? So it's not like a sky in the pie that he came up with and put at that guess. This article, yes, it came out months ago and it's based on pretty much historical data, right, and analysis. So that's why he's predicting, and right now, hit it almost to the dot of $9,900, right? So
okay, can I ask a quick question? Where is it going to be 3 months or 5 months from now? Or at the end of the year?
Well, it looks like for the chart, it'll be around that price for a little bit. It says it'll move sideways. It'll go sideways maybe for another couple months. All right. So it'll move sideways. So it'll be around this range, roughly about $10,000 range for the next couple months. That's what it looks like. And then, but in this bullish market, in this bull market, it's, if you look at the chart, it says anywhere from, can you enlarge that slide again, James? I know I'm getting a little old, so I can't see it clear. All right.
I'm excited looking at this chart.
Yeah. So if you look at it during the bullish run, it's saying it's going to be anywhere between 24,000 to 160,000. Right? That's what this chart is saying. So the Bitcoin price in the next 4 years, pretty much will be, well, actually, this is to 22, actually. If you look at the bull run, it's to, looks like maybe September of 2022. Okay, so the next 2 years. So it looks like in the next 2 years, Bitcoin will be between 24,000 to 160,000.
Wow.
Okay, that's what it's looking at. That's what it's looking like. All right, and so far it's been correct. But again, be patient. We'll see in the next couple months. Is it going to be moving sideways to be around the 10,000 range of where we are right now?
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, we will see. Right. We'll see. So all right.
So, you know, I mean, so between 24,000 and 160, that's a very wide range, if you will. But it's still a win, because even if looking worst case scenario, let's say it goes to 24,000, that's still an all-time high, right?
Yes.
So even though that's a wide gap between 24,000 and 160, you know, even if it only goes to 24,000, that's a win for everybody. But if it goes halfway between that, that's what, like 80, 90,000. So you can't lose it away. And when you look at the chart, you know, all the chart is saying basically is, when you look at the historical pattern of Bitcoin's performance leading up to the halving, right after the halving, and then months after the halving, right? And the pattern is almost identical, right? The prior halvings, but the performance of Bitcoin leading up to it and after, you can lay them over each other and they're almost identical. So yes, we know nothing is guaranteed, but when it comes to probability, if you look at the history, the historical performance, it's a high chance that's going to perform close to the same way, you know, after this halving as well. So yes, having said all that, the future is very, very bright.
Yep. And what's going to do for our business? People will be knocking at our doors trying to get into Bitcoin mining. So yes, I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a couple predictions over here. Someone's predicting 23,987 by the end of this year. End of this year.
Yeah, but the bet is for the next halving, though, so that doesn't really.
Right. You know. Yeah. I don't think he's talking about for that contest.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think he's talking about what the price is going to be end of this year.
Hey, that's very realistic. You know, by the end of this year, 23,000, I can see that. See, the thing is, Bitcoin moves in parabolically, right? So it can go sideways for a few months, and then it just takes off.
Right.
You know, and it tends to do that a lot. So they may move sideways for the next few months, you know, into the summer, but towards the end of the year, it could really take off and take us to $23,000. That's very possible.
Right, and this year, yeah, very possible. But the new high, because of this, is usually in the last two halving, the new high is reached about, I would say 12, 15 months. I think that's how history had it, 12 to 15 months from the time of halving, right? But because of this COVID-19 and all these money that's coming into the economy, so it might push it up. Okay, so it might be very likely, it's possible, that we'll hit the new high end of this year.
That's what Jason and I were talking about last week in the Friday's podcast, is that, you know, there's so many things happening right now that didn't happen the past couple of halving. Like you just talked about, the COVID-19, all the money printing, the economy, the stock market crash, and all that stuff. So times right now are a little bit different. So it could easily condense the time frame as to when Bitcoin really hit the next all-time high.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I do see a lot of our Facebook members put in their prediction I guess is for the next halving. Again, if you want to put the prediction, you can put it on the May 11th broadcast. Okay, so that's what we're going to go by. All right, we're going to take the numbers down tomorrow for all on the May 11th broadcast. So you want to go back there to put that prediction in. Good. If you want to put the prediction here just for discussion, yeah, that's fine. You can put the prediction here on this live cast, but it's just for discussion. Okay, so we won't take your prediction here for the contest. Okay, just a disclosure. All right, so don't come to me 4 years later and say, "Hey, I guess this number." Right?
You gotta,
not taking your
you gotta
numbers.
follow the rules, guys. Got to follow the rules.
Right.
And somebody's going to win a lot of money. Yeah, I'm telling you right now. So it's awesome.
All right. So so Gershom, you were saying about the articles earlier about how these billionaires are coming on board.
Yeah. So an article came out a couple of days ago, and it was talking about if James can pull it up real quick. So it was just mentioning all the different billionaires who actually own Bitcoin. And some of them, they don't really own a lot of Bitcoin, but at the very least, they own some. And, a lot of times, when you are in that category, you want to at least have your toe in the water just in case. So, they're talking about guys like Elon Musk, there's some Mark Cuban. And it's funny because Mark Cuban was one of those guys in a very early stage, wasn't too warm and fuzzy about Bitcoin.
Right.
But now, he said some good things about Bitcoin, which I am happy to see that. And interestingly enough, even the days when Mark Cuban was not talking so favorably about Bitcoin, you could actually purchase Mavericks tickets, the basketball team. You could actually purchase tickets to go to Maverick game with Bitcoin.
Right.
So he was not talking so good about Bitcoin at the same time his company was accepting Bitcoin for payments. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I thought the article was really, really cool. Just talking about that. And to me, if someone that worth multiple billions of dollars, if they can see the opportunity to get involved with Bitcoin, then I don't see why I shouldn't be involved with Bitcoin at the same time too. So I thought it was really interesting. What do you guys think?
Right. We were talking about winning these, and some of them are naysayers. Like we just mentioned Mark Cuban, and of course the CEO of JP Morgan. Before when Bitcoin came out, what he said Bitcoin, it's a fraud, it's a scam. That's what Bitcoin was to him. And then later on, JP Morgan, they were filing patents to get into cryptocurrency to have their own coin, and then eventually they have their own JP Morgan coin. All right, and then now, of course, last week there's an article out there just partner up with Coinbase and I think also Gemini, these big crypto exchanges, to really take advantage of their clients and of course take advantage of their clients' money to get access to their wallet. That's what JP Morgan is trying to do. So yes, so we went in him over a little bit of a hypocrite like Mark Cuban, right? First he said how bad it is, and then he started his own coin, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting.
And now trying to grab all the people that in the crypto space to be their clients.
Well, when it comes down to it, numbers don't lie, right? And that's one of the beautiful things about Bitcoin. It's numbers. It's math. It's all, and you can't go against numbers. It's nature. It's just what it is. I was thinking the other day about the power of exponential growth. And I'm looking at how the money printing that we're doing and how the last few presidents, each one that came into office actually doubled the national debt by the time they leave office, right? Like say, for example, when George Bush was in office, the next president doubled the debt, then the next president doubled the debt. That when President Obama was in office, he doubled the debt, right? And I'm thinking, this president, I don't see how he's not going to double the debt. So at some point, that number is going to get too big to where the economy cannot sustain itself any longer, right? And that's the power of exponential growth. And the reason why I was thinking about that, I was listening to a podcast and I went to read an article with this guy named Chris Mortensen. He's a physicist, and he was talking about exponential growth. And he gave an example, right? So he said, if you were to think of New York Yankee Stadium, where they play baseball.
Okay.
If you stand in the middle of Yankee Stadium and you start by dropping 1 drop of water, right?
Okay.
And if you double it every minute on the minute, how long will it take to fill this thing with water to the top?
I don't know.
50 minutes. 50 minutes.
50.
50. And here's the thing. For the first 4 to 5 minutes, the water will be about your ankle. And it's the last 5 minutes that gets to the top. Why? Exponential growth.
Right.
Because you keep doubling it. And eventually the number that you're going to double becomes so big that the next doubling gets you to the top, right? So that's the same thing with the debt. We keep doubling the debt, keep doubling the debt, keep doubling the debt. At some point, the next doubling is going to be so humongous. It's going to be so huge to where that's when you get at the hyperinflation stage. So, and the thing is, it happens like that.
Right.
Like, same thing with the water example. The first 4 to 5 minutes, you keep dropping these drops, keep doubling them. Water's on the other ankle. But it's the next 5 minutes that boom, just like that, you're covered in water, right? And I see the same thing with the national debt. We keep doubling the debt. Seems like everything is okay. You know, we're functioning, we're going to work, whatever. And at some point, it's going to be so large that we get into a hyperinflation stage. And that, to me, is when things get really, really serious.
All right.
Hey, can I just go back quickly to a point? The 9 billionaires that are getting into Bitcoins. I know when we read that article, some of these billionaires, they only own about, like Elon Musk, who's worth $40 billion, only own about 0.25 of Bitcoin, is not very impressive at all by any standard. However, I think one thing that we need to take note on is that for a guy that's worth $40 billion, if he happened to drop, I would say $100 onto the street, or happens to walk, find $100 on the street, he'll probably lose money just by bending down and pick up the $100 bill, right? But for him to take the time to go and tweet about it, that is something that is worth his attention. So if a guy that's worth $40 billion and say that, he is not against it, but he does, the way I read it, interpret it, is he does see potentials in it. It is worthwhile for me, to really look into it. So for those of you who are not in the Bitcoin space yet, take a look, get yourself familiar with what Bitcoin is and how this is going to change, the financial world, and see it for yourself. That's my 2 cents.
A lot of times those guys, they're not going to tell you exactly what they have.
That's true too.
So he may say, oh, only have 0.25 Bitcoin, when in reality, you probably have a nice little stack.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to tell. But one of the guys on that list who I'm really impressed with is Jack Dorsey. And, he's been out front about Bitcoin. He has no qualms about it. Matter of fact, his other company, Square, they're a big time Bitcoin advocate. So that's one of the guys on that list I'm really impressed by. Really appreciate the fact that he has no doubt about Bitcoin and has no problem saying that he sees Bitcoin as the future of money.
Right. And he's definitely using Square to make Bitcoin more transaction friendly. And we'll probably see that soon, right? How he's going to take advantage of the Bitcoin technology. And that's when these companies are starting to figure out how to use Bitcoin more efficiently, right? That's when the mass adoption is going to come in, okay? And you're right, Gershom. Most people would not really disclose how many Bitcoin they have. They have a little bit, and then in the background they start accumulating. That's how these people, how these billionaires and millionaires make their millions and billions. It's they might talk it down on one side, and then in the back end they'll go buy some more.
Yes,
right, accumulating it.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
But definitely there are people on that list that owns a lot of the Bitcoins, and they're very successful entrepreneurs. All right. So the next article we're talking about.
So the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, right? So the article came out where he was, I guess, at in Congress doing like some testimony or whatever. And so his take on the whole thing is this: he doesn't think that the economy is going to fully recover until we have a vaccine for the COVID-19. So, to me, I'm like, okay, so what is the economy going to look like until then? Right? And so far, when it comes to a vaccine, we don't have a vaccine for any of the other COVID viruses, like the bird flu and all of that. So how are we sure that we're going to find a vaccine for this one? And how soon is it going to be? I mean, I know people saying 18 months or whatever, but there's no guarantee. So if we don't get a vaccine for the next 5 years, or if we don't ever get a vaccine, that means that the economy is never going to recover. I don't know what that means when he said that.
Yeah, I don't see any vaccines gonna come anytime soon. That's one thing, right? And speaking of the COVID-19, I do notice, even though we in Pennsylvania we still have this lockdown, right? But I do notice a lot of starting to see a lot of traffics now. A lot of people are getting out there. But the good thing is most people are wearing face masks when they're outside, so that's good. And I hope everyone out there is safe. I hope all our members and all the audience out here, they're practicing safe distance and safe. Gershon and I, for me, I try not to interact with new people or people that I haven't interacted with. Right? Actually, the people that I see in the last few months are the same people that I've seen the last few months. I hardly see any new people. Like me and you, of course, we see each other almost every day before this COVID-19, after this, during this COVID-19, and up to now. So I'm hoping everyone is doing that. And the governor in Pennsylvania, it's still going to take a while. It's still going to take. I feel like it's still going to take some time for it to open up. And things will. I don't think things will get back to normal until a very long time, right? At least a year from now, until we somewhat get back to normal. Right. And even our economy opens up and Pennsylvania opens up, yeah, it's going to take a while. So James, how about California? How's California doing?
California is, it's like what you said. We're technically allowed to go out again in some places, and a lot of these counties, they've eased restrictions. But the crazy thing, the very fascinating thing is seeing what people actually do just because you're allowed. And you still definitely feel people are sensitive towards going outside. At least, speaking for myself and my wife, like we see these big lines at Lowe's and Home Depot, and you kind of just want to get out of there. And it does something to you, staying at home for a couple months in a row. Everything has changed, and it's a new normal. Do you guys feel comfortable flying already? Like, even if you're allowed to, and like they're only going to take a smaller capacity of people on the planes, like would you fly to Europe for vacation? Would you fly somewhere else for vacation? I think it's going to be quite some time before people feel confident and comfortable enough to risk it and go outside and resume normal activities.
Right. Probably. Yeah. No. I don't feel comfortable yet.
Well, one of the things that they're talking about doing, and this may already be in place, where how when you go to the airport you have the TSA people that do the screening and stuff like that, that they were thinking of maybe having those people do a quick test before you actually check in and get into the boarding area. So that's one of the things I saw something on that they were talking about doing that. So when you come in to check in, when you go through security, you get a quick COVID-19 test, maybe check your temperature type of stuff. And if you're good, then you go through. If you have a temperature, then maybe not.
Right.
So, they could do something like that too.
Okay. And speaking of flying, actually, we are planning to do our shopping spree. Actually, Don asked us to look into it, but we still
You're not feeling too comfortable. You're not feeling too comfortable.
not too confident when we can fly. when can we go to Vegas?
Yeah.
So we do have more members. Actually, as we get closer, I think more members are winning that. Like we have Ben is at his volume. He's at over 400, close to 500,000 already. So I think most likely Ben's gonna join us.
Okay.
For it. So we're gonna have over way more than 10 people be going at the shopping spree. But there's no solid date yet because like you say, James, I'm a little bit afraid to fly. Right. So back to what Powell was saying. Yes, it's gonna be tough. Right. When this economy opens up, when is it gonna open up? And when it does open up, it's not gonna be just the same.
But it also said that he doesn't see a V-shaped recovery. Like there are some people that are saying that that the economy is going to have a V-shaped recovery, and he said he doesn't see that happening. Based on the data that he's looking at, he doesn't see a V-shaped recovery happening in the economy. So that's also something to think about. But one of the things I noticed, there are a lot of protests going on right now around the country. There are a lot of people here in PA that's protesting, and they have a petition going around that they want the governor to resign or impeach the governor, something like that. But across the country, there are a lot of protests, and people want to get back to work and things like that. And one of the things I was thinking about, right, is to me, is the lack of leadership in our political class, right? Because people doesn't even know what to believe anymore. When our governors come on and say something, like, people are just not trusting our officials. And one of the things I'm surprised, because here's the thing I was thinking. It's one thing to tell someone, like, you cannot open your business or you cannot go to work, all right? And you promise all these different packages and stuff like that, but the money doesn't get to these people. So you're asking someone to literally stop their income for a stretch of time. And I don't hear any governor or any official saying, you know what, I'm going to not get paid until this is. It's easy to tell someone you're not going to get paid while you're still getting paid. That's fine. You're getting your check, but I'm not getting a check. I can't run my business, right? So you're telling me that I can open my business. Okay, that's easy for you to say. I have a family to feed, but you still getting your checks. So I don't see any leader saying, hey, you know what? In the interest of camaraderie, and should I feel your pain, I won't take a paycheck either until you open the economy. And that's one thing I realized that I haven't heard any official say that. And I think for leadership, that's kind of sad.
It is, but I don't think you're going to get that either. I don't think you're going to get any government official who says, you're not getting your check, I'm not going to take my check until you do.
But see, that's what is a thing. So that's why people are protesting. Like, when we see this protesting, it's one thing to shun them and say, hey, we need to protect ourselves and all that. And I get that. Some people go too far with it, but you're telling people that they cannot open their business, and only some business can open up, right? You can open, but you can't open. People get ticked off about that, and they're not making any income, and you still getting your fat check. It's easy to say, hey, don't open your business, don't get any income, while you're still getting your check. So people are saying, hey, what about you? You shouldn't get a check either until this is all over with. So people are ticked off.
So what do you guys think what kind of impact would it have on Bitcoin?
You mean
the economy, and how is it going to take longer to recover?
I think, for us, people really need to take a step back and reassess their situation, because there's so many of our members right now who are getting a passive income just because they're Bitcoin mining. Right. So there are a lot of people out there right now who are not getting any kind of income. Maybe they got the first stimulus check. There's still a lot of people who didn't get a stimulus check. But if before this whole thing happened, if they had a Bitcoin mining account set up where they're mining Bitcoin every day, they would have some income coming in right now every day. And it's passive.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. And it's definitely a double-edged sword, right? You have this is what Bitcoin is made for. Bitcoin is made for doing this hyperinflation threat that might come. All this money that's coming into being pumped into the economy, and all these uncertainties. That's what Bitcoin is supposed to be for. But on the other side, you have all these people that are not making money, right? People are uncertain what's going to happen. Where am I going to get my money? Where am I going to get my next paycheck to pay for my rent, to pay for my mortgage, to pay for my food and all that stuff? So luckily, the government is pumping money, and the Bitcoin price, yes, despite all that, it is pretty steady, and it is slowly going up. Right. So that's the good thing, and I think the Bitcoin, it will continue to be strong, right? Even if we're facing this hardship over here, I think Bitcoin, people are seeing it as a safe haven, and keeping the Bitcoin strong. And as most of our members predict that or think that it will go up, and I believe so too. Right. So what are your thoughts on that, Jason?
No, I feel the same way. I actually feel quite strongly about what Gershon was saying, that I hope I can see more of a leadership coming out, and that would actually inspire the people. We're all going through tough times right now, but I think the leaders should really step up to the plate and show the people that we're in this together. So far, I haven't seen much of that yet. So
and none of it is crazy.
Yep. So I definitely feel the people that are protesting about that they want their businesses to open up, and because there's so much that that are riding on it, just like our business, Jen. Besides this, Jen and I, we own other businesses, and we can open up, and because it's deemed not an essential or life sustaining businesses. So we need to have a clear strategy as to how to open these up, so that we don't get hurt by it for the long term. I don't know what is the best balance. I'll like to leave that up to the experts to decide and advise on us. But not opening is also not an option either, the way I see it.
So the best that we can do is prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
That's always
that's always
the golden rule,
but
right?
but I do feel fortunate that we that we do have Vbit, and we are mining every day, and every day I get up, I get a couple $100 of worth of Bitcoins in my wallet. So at the very least, I am getting continuous cash flow coming in to my family, which is a very fortunate thing.
Absolutely. And it's so unfortunate that more people don't take the opportunity to look into our business. And this is not just because it's our business, it's just what we provide people. Some of our members right now who are not hurting as much because they are Bitcoin mining, or because they've been mining for a while and they had a stack of Bitcoin in their Bitcoin wallet that they can actually use anytime they're ready. But this business that we're in really provide people an opportunity not only to hedge themselves against all the chaos with our currency and things like that, but to provide them a passive stream of income. It's the best passive income stream that there is out there. You don't do anything. Bitcoin is, like Mr. Wang just says, every day you get up and there's Bitcoin in your wallet. You want to spend it, boom, go ahead.
All right.
You want to spend it, leave it there, let it grow.
All right. So I have a question from our members. Are we guessing for 2024 or this year? So Juliet, we are, for the price is for 2024, the next halving. At the time of the next halving, what the price is going to be. But you can guess over here for this year. It's just for discussions. We're going to put something on this chat. For the guessing, it's on the live stream that we did on May 11th. Okay, so make sure you post it on the May 11th live stream. All right. Talking about mining, and talking about the halving event and what it has on the hash rate, right, and the mining difficulty.
Yeah.
All right. So James, if you can pull up the next article about the hash rate.
While James is doing that, Mr. Wang, we didn't get your take on the whole idea of flying. So how do you feel about flying right now?
I wouldn't feel comfortable flying today. We would have to monitor the situation very, very closely. Like Jen was saying earlier, Don asked us to look into potentially taking our team of qualifiers to Paris for the shopping spree, which we have quite a few people that actually qualify. If it's happening today, obviously we're not doing it, right? I mean, it's not being controlled yet, this thing. So we would have to monitor it. Don't have an answer for you, but we'll just have to see it day by day. But here's one good thing about that I read about these vaccines. There's an updated article over the weekend that was published. They're seeing multiple positive results that are coming out in the very initial study where they inject the vaccine into human and they monitor them for, I believe it was like 30 days, right? And then they take blood sample out of these brave human being that are doing it for the general goods of all of us. And they found that their body is reacting to it, meaning that they are producing antibodies as a result of these, vaccines injections. And these injections are well tolerated, and there's no adverse side effect that they have seen. So they're going to move on to the next phase of the clinical trial, which is something very, very positive, I think.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So we're back to this hash rate. You see it's on the headlines. Bitcoin hash rate continues to fall while miners return with profit incentive. Right. So a couple of things we have seen. James, if you can pull up that two charts that I sent to you earlier, the hash rate, the total hash rate, and the mining difficulty charts. All right. So you can see, yes, the Bitcoin hash rate has been declining since the halving. Okay, obviously, when the Bitcoin halving, what the miners get is only half of what they used to get before the halving. So, for example, it was 12.5 Bitcoin they were getting prior, and now it's only 6.25 Bitcoin they're getting. So that's what the halving means. Totally reduce what you get from mining about half. All right, now. Of course, the hash rate is going to fall down when that happens because a couple of things. The old miner is not making enough. It's not profitable for them to mine. Right, so they stop it. So you see the hash rate start to fall, but it doesn't fall exactly that quickly. Right, for a couple of reasons. One is because for some miner, a lot of miners actually they prepay. Right. You already pay a month for electricity already. Right? So most miner, when they do, they already prepay the utility company or the company, whoever is charging those fees. Right? It's usually a month for prepay already. So for May, for example, May's utility fees already paid for. Right? So they're turning, for some of them, they're still not worth turning it off. But when it comes next month, yes. You might see more miners go and turn off. But as you can see on this chart, it's already right after the halving over there. Right after the halving, then you see it going down. Right now, so you see this is the total hash rate. Right, you see it how it fluctuates a lot more like day to day it fluctuates. Okay, but James, if you can pull up the mining difficulty, right? Now, the mining difficulty obviously is not exactly what the hash rates look like. That the hash rate is a moving number where it's every day changes almost on the hash rate, or even actually every hour it might change, right? The mining difficulty, it doesn't change that much. You see the mining difficulty, here's the mining difficulty chart. The mining difficulty chart it's more like step-like. It steps up or it steps down, okay? And how that works is as more hash power come in, the difficulty goes up more, right? So, and great things tomorrow in the training on our Tuesday night training, I'm gonna get into more detail, a little more technical and more in depth of the mining difficulty versus the hash rate, of course, the amount of Bitcoin and all those good stuff. Okay, we'll talk about a lot of good stuff tomorrow at 7:30. Okay, so this is the mining difficulty chart. The mining difficulty chart is obviously it's about what comes out in the network. What the system is trying to do, the algorithm is trying to do is make it a 10-minute block, right? So approximately 10 minutes that a server or a computer or a miner can solve that problem. So that's why the difficulty is kind of like a average, okay, more like a moving average. That's why you have more like a step like, right? Not like a going up and down every day, changing. Okay. So for some of the people that ask why are we mining the same some days for a week or two, okay, this is the reason why, because the difficulty level it doesn't change every day, right? Even though your hash rate might change every day, right? So the system, it takes some time for it to adjust from what the hash power is. If you see more hash power, it'll make it a little more difficult. Right, so you'll see the difficulty will come down, right? Because the hash rate has come down. You'll probably see the difficulty will come down a little more in the coming days, probably, right, from the halving. You guys have any?
No. Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys. So as the hash rate comes down, do we expect that the miners that stepped out of the mining because of the the cost and whatnot, when the hash rate comes down, will that pull them back in?
Yes, if it comes down, if the hash rates come down enough where the old miners, if they use the old miners and it's profitable, it'll pull them back in. All right, so if it goes down enough, and when they start become profitable, yes, that might pull them back in, right? Or of course, Bitcoin price goes up. If it goes up higher, then they might come back in. All right, so we'll talk a little more about that tomorrow, right? And also just to give you guys an idea of what the company is doing, right? What Jason was talking about earlier. We were discussing about this another potential tension between and trade war between the U.S. and China, right? They already stopped. I think the U.S. stopped the sale of chips, or the shipment of chips from the U.S. to Huawei.
Oh, you mean computer chips? Okay.
Right? Yeah, not potato chips.
Are these lazy talking about?
I think the U.S. want to ship as much potato chips to China as they can. But yes, we're talking about computer chips. Right? So, and then there's a huge article about what's that company that's ordering chips or selling a large batch of chips to Huawei? Jason?
TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corp. One of the largest manufacturers in the 7nm chip. So this is the main materials or the chip that goes into the latest mining machines. So not only the crypto companies are sourcing after these chips, but you have all these cell phone companies, cell phone manufacturers such as Apple, right? Samsung, which they have their own manufacturing facility for their 7nm chips. But you have Apple, you have Huawei, you have Xiaomi, and all these phone manufacturers are sourcing after these chips. So what Jin was saying is, the commerce, in order for Huawei to be able to buy any chips, they would have to go to the Commerce Department and get a special permit, which would they say that they can't guarantee that they'll be approved. So what is this telling us? What they're doing, actually, Huawei just put in a $700 million worth of 7nm chip. They dramatically increased their order size, so hoping that they can keep it afloat, for a while, and then until they work out these, trade war issues between the two governments. So what we're thinking is that's going to put a big supply chain choke and stress, into the 7mm chip. So that's gonna make these S19s or the next, latest machine in even more short supplies than what it is today.
Right. So you have the 5nm chips and the 7nm chips, okay, which is the S17s and the S19s. Right. So what does the chip have to do with us? Yes. So our miners use those chips. Right.
Yep.
So if there's all these demand and especially all these tensions between the U.S. that the U.S. not going to sell China any of those chips. But yeah, right now it's only Huawei. But is it going to be China? Right? Is it going to be the whole China industry itself? So
We don't know.
that's why we got to decide. That's why, that's why Don. That's why we pay Don to do, right? So Don got to make that. We got to decide on what to do. On are we ordering more miners quicker, larger, or is it going to have any? What type of impact does it have on us? Okay, so that's what's on the table right now, and I hope this trade tension doesn't escalate too much, right? Because during this time, at this time, I think we all agree we all got to work together. Every country doesn't matter. We have to work together to get out of this pandemic, and then get out of this, and then recover economically, right? If we all having this tension and then have these trade wars, it's gonna hurt everybody, and it's gonna take a lot longer. All right.
Yeah, there are no winners in a trade war.
All right, and it's gonna hurt us as miners too, because of where we're gonna get these supplies. Right, so watch out for that, and we are keeping a very close eye on that situation, right? And we will have to make a decision on what to do very soon. All right?
Yep, for sure.
But the good thing is, we've been through this again. We've already been through this when the trade war already happened. So, right, and there are other miners, manufacturers as well. Right, so there are options, and we're on top of the curve. We're ahead of the curve, and we will definitely monitor it and make sure we have a solution for us. All right. So rest assured.
Yep.
All right. So now, does anyone have any comment or anything that you guys want us to discuss? Right. It's about that time. We have a few more minutes left. All right. If you see anyone from the audience,
any question on our YouTube channel, James?
Nothing on the YouTube, but lots of great comments on the Facebook side of things. It's so nice to see the engagement so high every time we do this stuff. So thank you everyone for hanging out.
Nice. Glad to hear that. Guys, so don't be afraid to ask your questions. That's one of the reasons why we do these live streams. And, a lot of times the webinars that we do, there are a lot of trainings, but they're also an opportunity to ask questions as well. And so, if you guys have questions, put them out there so we can answer them. And one of the reasons why I kind of want to bring that up, because you take, for example, the halving. We have been talking about a halving event for months. And, up until today, there are people still are surprised that the amount of Bitcoin that they mine each day has decreased, even though we've been talking about it for like months. So, it's like, when we have these live streams and these webinars, when it's time to ask a question, just put it out there. If you don't understand one of the things that's going on, hey, ask the questions. Don't be shy.
Right. So every webinar and every webinar, this one, the Tuesday night one, even the Monday night, where Gershom is going to talk about the compensation structure, and of course our Thursday night. So any of those, we will at the end have some time for Q&A. So you guys have some questions, discussions, we'd love to hear it. Okay. Anything else that?
No, we just always happy to do these live streams. Always so happy to see the participation from our members and guests as well. And we're enjoying these, and hopefully you guys are enjoying them as well. And if you guys have a topic that you would like to see us discuss, drop it in the Telegram group. We'll bring it up on the next live stream. Like the last one, Raquel, thought that a topic was interesting. She wanted to hear us talk about it, and we included it in our topic. So if you guys see something out there that you want us to talk about, maybe expand on it a little bit or whatever the case may be, let us know. We talk about it.
All
So
right.
I know, Jen, I know that you're gonna be doing, you're gonna be announcing the new features that you guys gonna be rolling out into a small test group. So so make sure you guys tune in for tomorrow's training, hosted by Jen. Just very, very exciting news. It's not going to be rolled out to all the members yet, but we're rolling it out to a small selective test group. But this new features, once it is successfully tested, will save a lot of our members a lot of money. Meaning, it's going to be more, at the end of the day, more money back into your pocket. So make sure you tune in for that.
Yep. So the beta version has been launched and being tested by a very small group. Make sure everything's okay before we launch it to our members, right? Before it's released to our members. All right. And I will, I'll give you a quick preview tomorrow, a little quick preview, and then more about the havens that we talked about earlier.
That's awesome. Yep, thank you.
Okay, so thank you everybody for being on tonight. I am looking forward to see you guys. All right, you guys have a good one.
Good night, guys. You guys take care.
Good night, guys. Take care. Stay safe.